Welcome to Links and Locks Action Network's golf betting podcast presented by Bet365. I'm your host, Andy Lack, and I'll be joined alongside Action Golf contributor Tony Sartori for these Best Bets episodes. And just like Jason and Ben have done the last couple of years, Tony and I will play 18 holes today, giving our 18 favorite picks for this week's tour event, the Houston Open. Before we dive into this week's episode, a reminder that the Links and Locks podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day, they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays, and they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boost and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Louisiana, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply. Okay, Tony, we're on the first tee here for our Houston Open Best Bets. Get us started.
All right, well, I'm going chalk. I'm not going the chalk. I'm not doing the 3-1, but I'm going the next guy up, and that's Wyndham Clark at 14-1 14-1, excuse me. I mean, to me, in this field, there's Scottie, there's Wyndham Clark, and there's everyone else. And, that's all due respect to Zalatoris, Finau, Thigala. But, in my opinion, those three guys trail Clark and Scheffler by a pretty wide margin. And then even if you get after those three, then the field really starts to nosedive. So, in my eyes, it's on paper, it should be a two-horse race, at least between Scheffler and Clark, and I'm not betting a guy 3-1 in a tour event. I'm just not going to do that. So, and I mean, Scheffler has not won in 19 of his past 22 tournaments. Yes, he's the best golfer in the world, but he's won 3 tournaments in his past 22. So I'm not justifying betting 3-1. So that brings me to Clark, who profiles well for Memorial Park. He ranks 11th on tour in greens and regulation percentage this season. And I've talked about this before, hitting greens obviously can give you success anywhere, but there's certain courses where hitting greens amplifies your chances of success. And Memorial Park is one of those courses. Last year, if you looked at the leaderboard, each of the top 3 finishers finished or ranked 7th or higher among the field in greens and regulation percentage. That was the only statistic or metric in which such a dominating trend prevailed last year in Houston. And Clark finished 16th here last year. It's a pretty weak field once you get past the top 5 guys. So at 14-1, he's my favorite pick in the outright market.
I'm going to stick with the outright market and go with Siwoo Kim, 32-1 enhanced on Bet365. I just love the way that Siwoo is playing right now. He's coming off a top 10 finish at the Players where he gained strokes in all 4 major categories. Memorial Park is a golf course that tests all aspects of her game, right? You need to be a good driver of the ball, great mid to long iron player, ton of touch and creativity around the greens. These are Tom Doak greens. I just spent the weekend playing a Tom Doak course in Florida. Very undulating, lot of green side surrounding runoffs and closely mown areas. You have to have a lot of creativity. There's not many bunkers on this course. You're going to be chipping off of these tight Bermuda Ys, and Siwoo Kim has one of the most underrated short games on the PGA Tour. He's also a great ball striker at that as well. And last time he was at Memorial Park, he gained almost 9 strokes on approach. So I think this is a week where Siwoo Kim notches another victory. I believe it would be his 5th PGA Tour victory. So he's certainly proven his mettle before in bigger events, won the Players Championship in a great field when he was 500-1. So I don't think he's afraid of Scottie. I'm going to take on Scottie this week and go with Siwoo Kim, 32-1 enhanced win on Bet365.
I love it, and that's a good transition because I'm also on Siwoo Kim. I'm in the first leader market, but same reasons you like him. So first round leader is 45-1. He's just a guy, and you kind of talked about this. He's just a guy that's always worth a dart throw, in my opinion. You know what you're gonna get from Siwoo Kim. He's so accurate, both off the tee and on the approach. And like you said, his short game is very underrated. There's just so many reasons to like him. He's 12th on tour in greens and regulation percentage. It's such a high floor play. And if I see the number of 45-1, especially once you get past those top dogs here this week, then yeah, Siwoo Kim's also a guy I like this week in the first round leader market.
I'm going to go back to the outright market, bet 365 enhanced win, 45 to 1 on Stephan Jaeger. I talked about the necessity to have a complete game at Memorial Park, how this tests all aspects of your game. Stephan Jaeger is quietly one of the most well rounded players on the PGA Tour. He's got a great short game. He's had a lot of success on Bermuda greens, Bermuda overseeded greens. And all of his best finishes this year have came on longer golf courses. Memorial Park's very long, that are long iron heavy, and require, benefit carry distance, right? Torrey Pines, Vidanta Vallarta, those are all longer driver heavy golf courses where you're going to get a lot of irons, particularly Torrey too emphasizes short game. I'm kind of in the camp that this is a carry distance and short game week, with some middle irons, the importance of middle irons mixed in as well. And Jaeger checks those boxes more so than maybe any other player in the field once you get past the Scottie Scheffler of it all. So 45 to 1, Stephan Jaeger in a Hounst win is my second outright that I'm rolling with.
I'll keep us in the outright market, and I'll keep us at the same exact price at 45 to 1, and that's Keith Mitchell. And I know that's like what a wild week it was for Mitchell last week at the Valspar. Looked tremendous through the first 3 rounds, was in the final grouping with the lead. And then Sunday happened, and he shot, I don't know, 77, 78, something like that. Absolutely just fell apart, tumbled from first to finish 17th. But I'm not going to let that one really, really poor day from him ruin how good of a week it was. He was really, really sharp in the first 3 rounds. And I think if mentally he scraps that Sunday and returns to form in this tournament, then he's absolutely live at 45 to 1. Great approach player. He ranks 6th on tour in greens and regulation percentage. And again, it's getting over that mental hurdle of that terrible Sunday, which is why I think maybe this price is a little long, 45 in the 45 to 1 in the spot. But if he plays how he played in those first 3 rounds, he can stay up there with Clark, Scheffler, and the better players up top.
I'm going to lead us into the top 10 market and go with Alex Noren, top 10 plus 350. I don't know if I have total confidence that Noren is the type of guy to close out and win this golf tournament. He has still never won on the PGA Tour, but in terms of a player that I think has one of the highest likelihoods to finish top 10 this week, to contend this week, to be relevant in this tournament come Sunday afternoon in Houston. I love the way that Alex Noren is playing right now. He's got back-to-back top 20 finishes at the Cognizant Classic and the Players Championship. He's a Bermuda guy. He's had a ton of success on Bermuda in the past. He has played very well at Memorial Park in the past. I believe he has a 7th place finish here where he gained over, or a 4th place finish where he gained over 7 strokes on approach. And he's just playing some great golf right now. Like, I think you want to always play Noren when the ball striking looks good because you know how deadly he can be around the greens and with the putter. And you're always that 1 week away from that total spike short game and putting performance from Noren. And, if the ball striking continues to be what it has been, that could be a top 10, certainly, maybe even something a little bit better than that. So plus 450, sorry, plus 350, bet 365 on Alex Noren to finish in the top 10 this week.
Yeah, our listeners are either going to love us or hate us because we're really on the same page today. I'm also on Alex Noren. I have him outright, 40 to 1. Again, same reasons you have it. He's been playing super consistent golf. He's made 11 straight he's made the weekend in 11 straight tournaments. He's got 2 top 3 finishes over that stretch. Granted, not necessarily at the most difficult venues, but still, I mean, it's still a top 3 finish on tour. It's kind of a week again. Once you get past the top like 5 to 10 guys, the field kind of weakens. So if Noren is going to get the job done, I could see it being an event like this as long as we get a down week from Scottie, But like you said, just there's lots to like about his game this week. He ranks 4th on tour in greens and regulation percentage. He's been striking the ball really well. 40 to 1, why not on Alex Noren?
I'm going to go with Luke List in the top 10 market at 6 to 1. I thought these were great odds on Luke List. One of the things I've spoken about with one of my buddies who I was just playing golf with this weekend, who lives about 5 miles from Memorial Park. He's a Houston guy, plays Houston all the time. He talked to me about how there's a lot of Riviera in this golf course, right? And if you look at the guys who've played well at Houston in the past, Sam Burns, DJ, Hideki Matsuyama, Jason Kokrak, Adam Hadwin. Those are all guys that played really well at Riviera too. And I think the reason for that is both golf courses are what I would describe as death by a thousand paper cuts courses, right? They're not a lot of hazards off the tee. Both of them rank bottom 10 in penalty strokes per round, but they're really tough around the greens. It's a lot of mid to long irons to greens with some undulation, and they're both golf courses that sort of meticulously break a player down, and you can get on the bogey train really quickly. Obviously, Luke List finished runner-up at Riviera this year. He's played well at Houston actually in the past. He's been really good around the greens at Houston in the past, which is really encouraging. And obviously, he's got that power off the tee and the middle iron play that I love as well. That has served him well at Riviera in the past. That has served him well on tougher, longer golf courses in the past. That has served him well at this golf course in the past. So I'm going to go with Luke List, 6-1 top 10.
I like that a lot. And for my final outright winner, I'm gonna go Billy Horschel, 60-1. This is my boomer bust play of the week. But I mean, when he's swinging the clubs well, and he has been doing that recently, he can absolutely take down this field. He's coming off a 12th place finish at the Valspar last week. He finished ninth 2 tournaments prior at the Cognizant. So why I called it boomer bust is because Horschel has missed the cut in 4 of his past 10 tournaments, and I think that's why this number is 60-1. But out of those 6 cuts he did make, he finished inside the top 25 of those 6 times. So when he's on, and when he's off. So boomer bust, but at 60-1 with a guy with so much experience on tour, excuse me, and he can hit greens. I think it's worth a shot at 61 on Billy Ho.
I'm going to take us into the top 20 market and go with Joel Dahmen, 3-1. Dahmen is just hitting the ball incredibly well right now. He has gained over 13 strokes on approach in his last 2 starts, and now he is traveling to a golf course that he's had a ton of success at in the past. In 2 appearances at Memorial Park, Dahmen has finished 9th and 5th. The driver looks incredibly well for him too, looks incredibly good for him too right now. It's really just the chipping and putting that has been a bit of a problem for Dahmen, but he's chipped and putted well at Memorial Park in the past. And I just think if you are giving me a guy that is striking his irons that well right now, that is driving the ball that well right now, that has played so well on this golf course in the past, I think he could still finish top 20 in this tournament as a negative putter, and maybe even a little bit better if he putts to just neutral. So I'm going to go with Joel Dahmen plus 300 in the top 20 market. I think that is a steal based on the way that Dahmen is hitting the ball right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. That number, I didn't see that number. That number shocks me. I'm gonna go to the top 10 market. I hit a dart throw with Malnati, not the outright, obviously, but I hit a dart throw with Malnati last week at 9-1 to finish in the top 20. I'm gonna take another 9-1 prop here at top 10. I'm gonna go out towards Victor Perez. So unsurprisingly, Scheffler ranks first on tour in greens and regulation percentage. The sky is blue. What shocks me the most is that Victor Perez is second. That's the guy who trails Scheffler on tour in greens and regulation percentage. So, I mean, he can hit greens. His approach game has been good this year. And he finished 3rd at the Puerto Rico Open. And he also finished 16th at the Cognizant. He's got 2 top 20 finishes over his past 3 tournaments. And one of those is a 3rd place finish. And he has a propensity to hit greens at a high clip. So, I mean, why not? Dart throw 9-1. I've seen crazier things happen, such as Peter Malnati winning last week.
Speaking of crazy things happening, well, I suppose I have him in the top 20 market, so this wouldn't be that crazy if he finished in the top 20 market. But I'm going to go with Joseph Bramlett, plus 350 to finish top 20. Kind of a B- version of everything you're getting from Luke List, right? I mean, Joseph Bramlett hits the ball a mile. He is one of the best long iron players out of the rough in this entire field. He actually has a really sneaky good short game as well. Bramlett gained 5 strokes around the green last week at the Valspar. He also gained 3.8 strokes on approach at the Valspar. He finished 17th last week. He's also played well at Memorial Park in the past. He's a top 20 in his last finish at Memorial Park. And I think that Luke List skill set that I love of high carry distance, great mid to long iron play, and he's actually got a lot better of a short game than Luke List as well. So I'm going to go with Joseph Bramlett, top 20 plus 350 on Bet365.
I'll keep us in the top 20 market. I'm gonna go after Rafael Campos, which is plus 650. So another bit of a longer play dart throw here. But again, I've been talking about hitting greens all podcasts. And Campos hitting greens has not been an issue all season. He ranks 13th on tour this year in hitting greens in regulation. I think there's worse numbers to take, especially because, like, again, I said earlier that, like, you get the top two guys and you have the three after that, and then there's maybe five more guys after that, where it's like that's kind of like the tier at the top, right? After that, this tournament opens wide up. So I think at plus 650, there's so many dart throws you can make this week for guys finish top 10, or excuse me, top 20. And I like Campos just based on his ability to hit greens recently.
I'm going to take us into the first round leader market and start with a guy that I think should be in your first round leader consideration every single week. I'm talking about Andrew Novak. Andrew Novak raises his baseline in the first round of golf tournaments more so than any other player on tour. Compared to how he plays in rounds 2 through 4, Andrew Novak is a superstar in rounds 1. He is the number 2 player in this entire field behind Scottie Scheffler in round 1 scoring average over the last 12 months. He's coming off another strong finish at the Valspar where he gained over 5 strokes on approach and finished 17th. He's actually got 4 top 20s now in his last 5 starts. So Andrew Novak is playing some incredible golf. The irons are particularly strong, and he just loves to get off to a hot start. So Andrew Novak is 80 to 1 on in the first round leader market. I think course agnostic, you just bet Andrew Novak first round leader every time he's teeing it up.
I'm going to keep us in the first round leader market and right around the same price. And it's a guy you went after last week, and that's Aaron Rai, 70 to 1 in the first round leader. I just kind of want to buy low on him because he's, as you talked about last week too, he's been playing such good golf. I know last week wasn't his week at the Valspar, but he's been playing really good golf before that. He had 3 straight finishes inside the top 35. And like I was talking about Siwoo Kim earlier, or we were talking about Siwoo Kim earlier, he's an extremely accurate striker of the golf ball. He ranks 8th on tour in greens and regulation percentage, and he's also super accurate off the tee. I think he's just like, he's going to keep it straight. He's going to not make too many mistakes. And then all it takes is a hot putter, and anyone can win. You know, it's the first round leader. Anyone can win the first round, right? So if the putter gets going, I trust his accuracy to get him to the greens. It's just if the putter can drop. And I think after a down week, why not for the putter to start strong for us on Thursday? So 70 to 1, Aaron Rai.
I'm going to stick in the first round leader for one more and go with Davis Thompson, 75 to 1 first round leader. I love this guy. He's on my betting card in some way, shape, or fashion every single week. It did not work out for us last week at the Valspar, but I'm not deterred one bit. He still gained 4 strokes on approach. He's played well at this golf course in the past. He is a great driver of the ball. He's long. He's straight. He's a great iron player. He's a great mid to long iron player. Again, I don't know if I think he has what it takes to close a golf tournament right now, but similar to Andrew Novak, this is a perfect market to deploy him because Davis Thompson loves getting off to hot starts. He ranks top 15 in this field in round 1 scoring average over the last 12 months. I like him at this golf course in any way, shape, form, or fashion. He is a Southeastern Bermuda guy. He's got the ball striking chops to compete here. So I'm going to go with Davis Thompson, 75 to 1 in the first round leader market.
Awesome. And for my final play, I'm gonna keep us in the first round leader. I hate this play so much, but I'm gonna do it. I need to back him in some way. I'm gonna go Scheffler on the first round leader market. Moves him from 3 to 1 to 12 to 1. I mean, like I said, it's a disgusting play, but I feel like what's gonna happen, what I feel like could definitely happen is he's gonna go out there, he's gonna lead after 3 in the first round, go wire to wire. And like I just don't want to be the guy who has no sort of action on it whatsoever this week. I feel like even at the ridiculously low price at 3 to 1, there's gonna be so many people riding Scheffler this week, almost just because he's 3 to 1. So they're probably gonna think, oh, there's no way he loses, and there may not be because his putter is figured out. Over the last 2 wins he has, he's gained true strokes, gained putting in both of them, and those 2 tournaments were the first 2 where he switched over to that new putter. But not only that, he's gained more strokes putting over those 2 tournaments than he had in the previous 15 combined. So I mean, if his putter is truly figured out, the tour season's probably done. He's gonna go on and win, 60% of the events moving forward, or well, I guess you'll only play signatures and majors, but 60% of those moving forward if that putter is indeed figured out. So I just want to be on this guy in some way this week. And at first round leader, you can move from 3-1 to 12-1. So that's my final play this week.
You're reading my mind because my final one is kind of a fun alternative market on Scottie Scheffler. I listen, I'm not going to bet the guy at plus 250. I actually, if you're telling me Scottie Scheffler or the field, I would still take the field. That doesn't mean I'm not terrified of him and think he's the most likely winner of this golf tournament. But this is a fun bet provided by Bet365 that I thought was interesting. Scottie Scheffler to win in a playoff is 22-1, which I thought was wild, right? Because first of all, every single week on the PGA Tour, whether there's a playoff or not, it's pretty much coming down to the wire. I think we can confidently say that Scottie Scheffler will probably be there, right? He'll be somewhere close to the lead heading into the final round. And if he gets into a playoff, he is going to be heavily favored against anybody that he is playing in that playoff. So if you just get him into the playoff, you're probably in a no lose situation where you could take the guy he's playing at heavy plus money against him anyway. And I was looking at the other markets for it. Like he's plus 500 to win by 2 strokes. He's plus 750 to win by 3 or more strokes. I don't understand why he's 22-1 to win in a playoff. That seems totally off to me. So I think that's a fun one. I think it's a fun way to get some exposure to Scheffler without laying the 2 plus 250 for. I mean, he's like plus minus 230 to finish in the top 10 at this point. So it's pretty tough to find ways to deploy Scottie Scheffler. I thought this was a pretty fun one. And that'll do it for our best bets episode for the Houston Open. Before we get out of here, final reminder that the Links and Locks podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day, they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. And they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boost and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Louisiana, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply. As a reminder, our Action experts Spencer Aguiar and Nick Brentwish return with host Roberto Arguello tomorrow for Houston Open betting preview right here on the Links and Locks podcast. So for Tony Sartori, I am your host, Andy Lack, and we will see you back here next week on the Links and Locks podcast presented by Bet365.